You've probably come across a musician who's heard a song for the first time and can play it on the spot. A lot of times it seems like, oh, like only, keyboard wizards or like really advanced people, they know how to do that. Well, here's the secret. It's not as impossible as it seems. In fact, I've broken it down into 3 steps so that you can listen to any song and know how to play it instantly on the piano. So in order to play any song by ear, you need to first identify the key. So in order to do this, I'm gonna rely on my ears to find something called the tonic. Now, if you don't know what the tonic is the home note. It's the home chord where everything kind of feels like it's finally resolved. There's no tension, and if you were to play your major scale over it, everything would sound like it fits perfectly like a glove. So we're gonna try this with an actual song. I have an instrumental of Sign of the Times. We're gonna try and listen to find out where is this home chord or the tonic. Okay, so off the bat, we have some piano chords. So we have 2 chords there, and there's my 3rd chord. Is there a 4th chord? No, it just stays on the 3rd. Okay, so I know I have 3 chords, right? So we're kind of doing a music analysis right now. And you can do this a couple different ways. Step 1 is you can come and just try and find the notes that sort of fit, like, and if I hum, there's this note's in it, this note's in it, this note's in it, and if I found, okay, where's you kind of find the note that you're looking for, and you're gonna make a lot of mistakes. You're gonna hit a lot of sour until you finally find the right one. So this is one way to do it. The next way is to use the major scale. So let's try a key of C. If I play, it doesn't sound bad, but it's not 100% right. What about D? Definitely not. E. Ugh, not the key of E. What about F? That sounded really nice. And does it work over the 1st chord over here? We found it. It's the key of F right there. And it's such a dramatic point in the song too. We found the key. So in order to find the key, I had a couple different variations that I was going with. Pick a note and start playing major scales and find which one fits. And you're gonna have a really hard time at first because some might sound like they almost fit. Like key of C didn't sound bad, but the key of F sounded even better. And that's because those keys are really closely related. The tonic chord again is that home chord. When it finally hits this F chord, it feels like you finally arrive to a resolution in the song, and that is how you find the key. If you don't have one already, download the free PDF below. All right, so step 2 is actually the real secret as to how musicians figure out songs so fast, because it's all just a simple formula that you can transpose into any key. So now we found out that our song is in the key of F major, so I know my major scale. The nice thing is each one of these notes has a chord that's attached to it. So let's give each one of these notes a number. F is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and we get back to 1 again, or number 8. Here is the formula. Number 1 is a major chord, so F major. Number 2 is minor. Number 3 is minor. Number 4 is major. 5 is major. 6 is minor. 7 is one called diminished, and we're not gonna focus on that too much today. And the last one is major again, because you would just start over. So once you know what the formula is, the pop progression actually uses 4 main chords, the 1, 5, 6, and 4. And a lot of your pop songs are just gonna be using those 4 chords. So how do we figure out what those are? Well, 1, we said the 1 was a major chord, so that's F. The 5 was also major. The 6 was minor, and the 4 was major. So now I have 4 chords that I'm really looking at. We have 1 minor chord and the rest are major. So already, this is helping my ear figure out what are my chord options in this song. If you need a little bit more help with them, we actually do have the piano chords and scale book that'll really help you out, which shows you every scale, every chord, all in this book. So if you need help with that, make sure you grab this book. I'll leave a link below this video. The most important step, step 3, listening to the bass root movements. And you might be like, okay, what does that mean? when you're listening, it's very important to know what you're listening for. And when you're listening to a song, we're gonna play that track again one more time. I want you to think of the lowest note that you can hear, AKA the bass. Because again, in pop music, most of the time, if you can figure out the lowest note, you can figure out what chord it is. Because if I hear a D, I know that D in the key of F is gonna be minor. If I hear a B flat, I know it's gonna be major. And if I hear a C, I know it's gonna be major again. So if you can determine the lowest note, that is your secret weapon. Let's play the song again and let's see if we can hear what the bass is doing. So we know we start on F. So this one we have to find, is it C, D, or B flat? All right, so this one sounds like we're hitting it. So there's our C note right there, and you can kind of experiment. You can hit like B flat first, not quite. There it sounds like that. There's the D, and then it goes down one more, it sounds like. And he could have gone down to B flat again. I think he actually does that later on at the very end of the song, but it sounds like at the beginning, we're staying between F, D, and C. And just by knowing those bass notes, that allows me to add the chord qualities that apply to these bass notes. So F is the first degree, so F major. D is the minor, because it's the sixth. C is the fifth, which gives me a major chord. So now I have my progression, which is F, D minor, and C. So let's try that. 1, sounds good. There's D minor, and here's that C. And now I just figured out how to play the song by ear. Okay, so listening to the bass is absolutely crucial, because once you hear those bass notes, you just apply our diatonic chords, that chord formula, and you can start to figure it out. Now, there's gonna be a lot of trial and error when you're figuring this out, because if you can hear that low note and you're like, okay, well, there's an F major chord, but then you're not sure if that second note was D or C, then try a C chord. You're like, oh, and use your ears as your guide. You're like, that's not quite right. It's really close, but there's the D minor. And then it goes down to C at the end. And when it resolves to our tonic, our home chord, that's how you know what key you're in, and that's how you know how to play a song using your ears. All right, so this last part is a little bit of a bonus section, but there's still one missing ingredient, is how do you figure out the melody? Well, that's where your ears are really gonna come in handy, because we know the key of F, so I know I have to use my F major scale, right? If you can hum it, you can play it. Ba, 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 da, 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 da. And then it kind of does like a back and forth thing right here. Da, 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 dun, dun. I'm just using my F major scale. E, D, E, D, E, D, C, C. So what if I add the chords to that right now? So that's just a single note, right? But it kind of sounds a little thin, right? How do I make it sound even bigger? Well, let's add notes from the chord I'm playing into the melody. Let's take it up an octave. There's no rules that say I can't. So I can use A, I can use C, or I can use F, A, and C. I can use any combination of this, and this is where you get to use your creative flow. There's a full chord, just C and F. There's just a single note. So now I'm using G and C, so why am I using G and C? Well, it's because there's a G note in my C chord. So that's the secret. F, A, and C. Whenever you're playing the melody with an F chord, you can use any of these notes. Same with D minor, D, F, or A. And you just play those underneath the melody to harmonize it and make it sound even bigger. So if I use this trick and I try and play the melody, now it sounds like there's harmony in there. I'm using G and C. And then it sounds different every time I play it. Let's just do single note for a second. Now let's add the sixth. It's sounding a lot more full all of a sudden, and that's that final step, and that takes a lot of practice. All right, so there it is. Those are the steps that every musician needs to know to play songs by ear. So happy practicing, and we'll see you next time.